BJ Mafia, what's poppin'? So the Jacksonville Jaguars will be traveling to Houston to take on the Texans in a Week 17 matchup at NRG Stadium. The Jaguars currently sit with a record of 7-8 as they control their own destiny in the AFC South, looking to win out these next two games and win the AFC South. And the Houston Texans currently sit with a record of 2-12-1. They currently hold the #1 pick in the NFL draft. So both of these teams, while they're interdivisional rivals, both currently sit at completely different points of their season. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently on a 9-game losing skid to the Houston Texans. They have not beaten them since 2017 in Jacksonville. I was in attendance for that game when the Jaguars blew the Texans out. We clinched the division and we clinched a playoff berth. Damn, it's been that long since I've seen the Jaguars beat the Texans, and I was there for it in person. And like I do for every single preview video, I'm always going to talk about the opponent first that's going to come with the Houston Texans. I'll talk about them on both sides of the ball. I'll then transition into the Jaguars, and at the very end, I'll give my final thoughts and verdicts. But this preview video is not going to be as in-depth as my other ones. This one's going to be a lot more laid back and casual, but let's actually talk about the Houston Texans first. So talking about the Houston Texans first, the first thing I want to address is, yes, this team currently does sit with the #1 pick in the 2023 NFL draft, and I advise them to lose out. I mean, this point of the season, there's really no point in them, going out there and trying to win games. I'm sure fans don't really care about winning games right now in this point of the season, and obviously they don't want the Chicago Bears to go out there and get the #1 overall pick. Sure, it'd be nice to play spoiler, and I'm not saying that as a Jaguars fan. I'm saying that take it from someone who's had the #1 pick for 2 years consecutively, back to back. And then I want to actually talk about their offense. I want to talk about quarterback at the helm, Davis Mills. Now, Davis Mills was the 67th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft out of Stanford. And Davis Mills, this feels like the Gardner Minshew experiment 2.0, what was going on in Jacksonville. They said, hey, you know what? We don't think that this guy can be a long-term sustainable franchise quarterback, but you know what? Let's go out there. Let's give the guy a fair opportunity and let's see what we got in him. If he overachieves and exceeds expectations, then great, maybe we have our guy. And if he is who we thought he is, then okay, cool, we can move in a different direction, especially because we're going to have a top pick in this year's upcoming draft. And whether the Texans want to go with the quarterback or not, I'm not here to discuss that. I'm just saying that Davis Mills is probably a good guy, not a great quarterback, and he's just a guy. That's all he is. He's just a Jag, just a guy. But talking about some other guys on the Texans offense, I mean, Dameon Pierce, star-studded running back out of the University of Florida, suffered an ankle injury a couple of weeks ago. So he's been inactive, and Freeman's been getting a lot of the carries out of the backfield. I like a couple of their skill position guys. Brevin Jordan, tight end out of Miami. I think he's solid, but he's got a lot of work to do, and also he needs a quarterback. And then Amari Rodgers is another guy who was a guy that a lot of Jaguar fans wanted coming out of the draft this past season. Receiver out of Clemson, because he had that chemistry from his time back in Clemson with Trevor Lawrence. But otherwise, this Texans offense is nothing really to rave about. I want to talk about their defense because Derek Stingley Jr., I believe it was in week 9 or week 10, he went on IR. And Derek Stingley Jr., the #3 pick in this year's draft, is a phenomenal cornerback. I think he's going to be a great corner in this game for years to come. And of course, he's always going to get compared to a guy in Sauce Gardner, who was just taken in this year's draft as well, too, by the New York Jets. And another guy I wanted to talk about in that secondary for the Texans is with Jalen Petrie, second-round pick out of Baylor. And I think that him and Derek Stingley Jr., that's going to be a nice, solid foundation for what the Texans have moving forward with this defense. He's been an underrated player this year, and he's really flashed these last couple of weeks. I've seen a lot of great things out of him when I went back and watched some of the highlights. Jalen Petrie is a guy who I'm actually really excited to see how he continues to develop moving forward, because that looks to me like the Jaguars version of Tyson Campbell and Andre Sisco right there in the secondary. So great job there by the Texans. I think that was a really good find. Obviously taking Derek Stingley as well too in the first round this year. So the Texans got some solid pieces, but this game, all they're fighting for is pride and, just to play spoiler. But let's talk about the Jaguars. Now, talking about the Jaguars on the offensive side of the ball, the first thing I want to address is obviously with Cam Robinson, left tackle. I addressed it before the Jets game, but Cam Robinson's going to be out for the rest of the season. From what it looks like. And obviously I hate injuries. I mean, everybody does, and especially this time of the year when you want to see guys make that late playoff push and really help their team out when they can. Just sucks to see guys go down, and just Cam Robinson, hope you continue to get well. And then I want to talk about quarterback at the helm, William Trevor Lawrence, and he has been the best or the second best quarterback in the NFL since week 9. I mean, he's been smart, he's been witty, he's been, cocky with his on the field, talk. And he's backed it up with all of his play. Trevor Lawrence has been phenomenal. He's #1 in quarterback completion percentage. I believe he's top 2 in QBR. I believe he's #1 in touchdown to interception ratio. He's played phenomenal. He's put the team on his back, and he's just been a great vocal leader, and he's been everything that Jaguar fans have wanted out of Trevor Lawrence and this franchise moving forward. And you really see exactly why the Jaguars took him with the #1 overall pick and why there was all this hype coming out of him from college. Travis Etienne's had 2 great back-to-back performances in these last couple of weeks, really bouncing back after struggling for a period of time there. He's got to do better with the fumbling issue, but I do expect him to continue to work on that, and I do expect for him to really, hold on to the ball. That's the main important thing. Marvin Jones Jr., Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, every skill position guy has been coming in, chipping in, and really has just been a revelation for the Jaguars and helping out Trevor Lawrence, because this is something that was desperately needed. And you see how these guys are all gluing together, and it's been a beautiful thing to see. And when Jamal Agnew does get the ball, great things happen. Flipping it over to the Jaguars' defensive side of the ball, you can't say enough about how great the Jaguars' defense has been this last couple of weeks. Guys are putting themselves in a position to succeed. Guys are out there making big, timely plays. They're getting timely sacks, and the defense is playing with swagger and juice, and that's something that you love to see, because the nice thing about defenses, especially once we get to colder weather during this time of the year and you've got to hit the road, no matter where you're at, defense can travel because guys got that swag and they got that juice, and that's something that you want to see with this momentum that they've taken with them, creating timely turnovers and putting the Jaguars offense in a position to succeed, especially with the field position battle. And that's going to be critical, especially if the Jaguars want to make a run in the postseason. And one more thing I wanted to point out before I kind of end and wrap up this video is Trevor Lawrence is 0 for 3 in his career versus the Houston Texans. I was out at NRG Stadium back in week 1 of 2021 to go see Trevor Lawrence's NFL debut. Great atmosphere, great stadium, great fans, honestly. Got nothing but love for the city of Houston, man. Beautiful city, actually. Great fans. So I don't really got anything against Texans fans, man. Got nothing but respect for you guys. But I know Trevor Lawrence wants to go out there and get his first win versus the Houston Texans. New season, new era. And I expect Trevor Lawrence to go out there fully prepared and ready to take on the Houston Texans as well as this entire team. But there's not really much else I do want to say for this video. I will say that my big announcement is coming this Sunday, January 1st, New Year's Day, 12 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I did just secure my playoff tickets for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, everything is still speculation. Everything is still up in the air. We have to go out there and beat the Tennessee Titans, and hopefully it's a Sunday night football game, because my goodness, how special would that be if the Jaguars could get a Sunday night flex game in Week 18, last game of the season on primetime. Go out there, beat the Tennessee Titans, even if they're derailed with injuries, and clinch a playoff spot. What a performance that would be. That would be something special to see. But I did go out there and I did go get my playoff tickets, man. I dropped a bag. Hope to see you guys back in Jacksonville at the game, man, and I'm super excited. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, though, man, make sure you guys drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me on the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more NBA and Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys go follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below. But thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Go Jags, baby. Peace.